friends, this is Christopher Davis-Shannon, and today I'm going to teach you how to play the 1926 hit Sunday. And if you're playing ukulele, this is especially important because the first major hit of this song was for none other than Ukulele Ike. If you've never heard of him, you might know the name Cliff Edwards. If you don't know Cliff Edwards, you certainly know the name Jiminy Cricket. You see, that great voice actor, singer, and musical star was, in fact, a famous ukulele player and band leader of the time. So if you'd like, you can always skip right to the end for the play-along version of this, but we're going to break down both sections of the tune as well as that chord melody intro that I just played. We're going to be doing this song in its original key of B flat. Before we get going, let me just sing one of the A sections for you so you can have it in your ear. The melody starts on the 9th of the first chord, which is the C on the 3rd fret of your A string. So you want to make sure that you check yourself when you start saying this, that you're starting on the right note, as it's not a chord tone, which can be a bit awkward. It sounds like this. 2, 3, 4. I'm blue every Monday, thinking of a Sunday, that one day when I'm with you. So that's our A section. That repeats 3 times throughout the tune. So let's look at what these chords are. So I said we're in B flat, so we're going to be starting on a B flat 6th chord, which is open 2, 1, 1. We're going to use this throughout, and actually the 6th, which is our open G string, is used heavily in the melody throughout this song, so it really helps support what's going on. Now, as I mentioned, this actually starts melodically on the 9th, so if you'd like, for the first 2 strums of this first measure, you can actually keep your ring finger on the 3rd fret, or the C on your A string, and it will help you just feel where that melody is. You can also just play a regular old B flat 6th, either works. So we're going to strum this 4 times in the first measure, and then the second measure, we're going to strum it 2 times, and then we're going to move on down to a B flat diminished chord, which is open 1, open 1. So that's not such a hard chord. So our first 2 measures will just sound like this. And what this is doing, this B flat diminished 7th, is walking us down to our F 7th chord, which is where we're going next. 2, 3, 1, 3. We're going to play that for 1 measure. Then we're going to go to our G 7th chord. Open, 2, 1, 2. So let's listen to just the first line of this, the first 4 measures. We can try it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now B flat diminished to F 7th, to G 7th. And this goes exactly where we want it to. Our G 7th goes right to a C 7th, another little circle progression for 1 measure. Then we're going to F 7th for 1 measure. And if you want, on the last 2 beats of this, you can make it an F 7 sharp 5, which is 2, 3, 1, 4, a C sharp in the treble voice there, just to give it a little bit more tension before we resolve back to our B flat 6th chord for 1 measure. And then we're right back to our F 7th, which turns us around to get us back to the top of the form 1 more time. So let's put this whole A section together and see what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm blue every Monday, thinking of a Sunday, that one day when I'm with you. We repeat. Da, 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 oh, da, 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 and the second time we go through the A section, we're just going to stay on that B flat chord. We're not going to turn it around because we're going somewhere different now, and that somewhere different is the bridge. So let's look at that. The bridge that we have in this song is a borrowed bridge that we see all over the place in early jazz classics. This is our rhythm changes bridge, or a 3-6-2-5. We see this in, of course, I've Got Rhythm, but we also see it in 5'2", Eyes of Blue, or Has Anybody Seen My Gal, and also Please Don't Talk About Me While I'm Gone, and countless other songs. So what we're doing when we say 3-6-2-5-1 is we're just counting up, right? So we know we're in B flat, so we have B flat, C, D. And we're going to play all dominant chords, so it's going to be a D 7th for 2 measures. Let's get a cycle. Our D 7th brings us to our 6th chord, but again, always a dominant chord, so it's going to be a G 7th for 2 measures. Our G 7th brings us right to our dominant 2 chord, B flat C, and we're going to make it a dominant 7th, so just C7th for 2 more measures. And then our F7th, which we know is our 5 chord in the key of B flat, which is going to bring us right back to that A section one more time. So let's try this little rhythm changes bridge and see how it sounds. Starting on our D7th chord. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Thursday, gee, it's long, never goes by. Friday makes me feel like I'm gonna die. But after payday, and that brings us right back to our A section that we've already gone over. You just repeat those first 8 bars at the end. And much like in the second A section, we won't have a turnaround on the end unless we're going back to the top of the tune. So we'll just land on the B flat. Now let's look at the chord melody to get us into this song. The A section works really well to get us into this tune. We'll just add a little chord melody to it. So we're starting out on our B flat 6th chord, but as I mentioned earlier, the first melody note is actually our 9th, or a C on the 3rd fret of our A string. So it'll be open, 2, 1, 3, effectively making this a B flat 6-9 chord. So beautiful open sound for the first 2 strums. We resolve down to regular old B flat 6th. Now our next measure, we're going to lift up that partial bar, so we'll have an open A string now for the first beat, right back up to the C on the 3rd fret of the A string, and then we come down to our B flat diminished 7th chord. Our melody note is the B flat on the 1st fret of our A string. So here's what the first 2 measures of the chord melody sound like. And now we're going to an F7th, but the oddity here is that our first melody note is actually a G, which is not contained in the F chord. So we're going to play an F7th chord as open 3, 1, 3. We're going to have this added 9th in here just for the first 2 strums. And then we resolve it to our regular F7th chord, because the F is actually the melody on the second 2 beats. And then we're going to slide down to G7th, but I want you to pay close attention to how I did that. Here's our F7th chord, right? And I'm going to slide down like this, leaving my first finger open. And the reason for this is our second melody note in the G7th bar is the A flat on the 1st fret of our G string. So we want to set ourselves up to be able to play that easily. So our G7th bar will sound like this. So let's listen to the whole first line of this song and listen to that melody. Sounds something like this. Now we're going to a C7th chord, if you recall from when we went over the chords. But our first melody note here is the D on the 2nd fret of our C string. And that's a hard one to isolate. So we'll actually pluck that out individually and then strum our C7th chord. Lift it up, pluck the C string individually. And then our next note, we're going to go to an F, which is contained in our F7th chord. We'll go F, pluck, G string, which is an A, the 2nd fret here, and then resolve it to a B flat chord. So let's just listen to those last couple bars of the chord melody section. And we can throw a nice big F7th at the end to put the whole tune together and get us back to the top. So now we've got that little chord melody section. Let's try the whole tune. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sunday, that one day when I'm with you, it seems that I sigh all day Tuesday, I cry all day Wednesday, oh my, how I long for you. And then comes Thursday, gee, it's long, it never goes by. Friday makes me feel like I'm gonna die, but after payday, that's my fun day, I shine all day Sunday. say that one day when I'm with you.